Hey there, coaches. How are you this Tuesday morning? I'm trying to do a little something different with my setup here, so we'll see how this works. Wanted to talk again because I did the live on the circle of life and how I use them in my business. So I wanted to follow up with that because someone asked about a class, and this is a great way for you to actually um, figure out how to do a class right from the circle of life. And I think it's a great idea for you guys to do this. So I'm just going to kind of go over an overview of this. I've done something similar to this, but just wanted to give you some maybe expansion on how you could do this. So you could just start out with you could make this like a 2-hour class if you wanted, or a 2-hour little seminar or workshop, 2-hour workshop. You can make this in a community area. You could do this for corporate. You could do this for so many different things. I have my this is really funny because I have my camera turned horizontal today, so I'm finding that I'm not looking at the right thing. I have to look at the camera lens, and I'm having a hard time doing that. So we'll see how this turns out. It'd be interesting because I want to actually, so this is a thought for you guys. I want to actually start posting these onto YouTube, and I know you have to have your camera. They say it's better to do it horizontally. So anyway, hope you guys are doing good. So you could do something with just a welcoming, get people in there, just talking about that, the circle of life, or just balance in their life, right? And so also you can start by giving a little, once everybody's in, a little overview of maybe your personal experience in using the circle of life when you did it for IIN, right? Because I know that was huge for me. And I think that's why I incorporated it into my business from the get-go, because I saw something in my own that I thought was an aha moment for me. So it's really just wanting to let people know how they are in the balance of their life right now, how they might want to be, and how they can implement work-life balance. Um, so many people are struggling with that right now, guys. And so this would be a great workshop for you to do. So you can start off with like a 10-minute talk about balance with your attendees. What are their thoughts on why balance is so important? Or you can tell them your thoughts on why balance is so important. Ask them how they feel when they are not in balance, and can they even recognize that? Ask the attendants what they think balance is, because I'm sure if you had a room full of 20 people, you would probably hear very different answers from them all. So asking them what they think balance might look like, and how would they know if they had it, right? That's a huge one. How did they know they have it, and how does that feel to them? And I think that's when they start to recognize that they have stress in their life, that it's not normal, because we begin to have stress in our life and it becomes such an everyday thing that we think it's rote, and it's not. It's once we start to open people's minds that, oh my God, this is not normal, I should not be feeling like this every single day, and they start to begin to understand that there is something going on and that they are out of balance. So this is really, really important for people to understand. And then the key is to know whether they are moving in and out of balance, right? And once they become aware, oftentimes that's enough to set them on the course of being more intuitive to, okay, I'm not feeling in balance, I'm feeling out of balance, right? So then you can go with, and that should take like 10 minutes, just have an open discussion kind of thing, getting everybody involved, and just seeing what everybody says. And as people start talking, I've done plenty of workshops, in rooms full of 30, 40, 50 people. So once you start getting people talking, it's amazing how the others, loosen up and are willing to put in their thoughts, right? And then share your own thoughts about why balance is important, with that, right? So that's going to all be in like 10 minutes. And then the next 5 minutes, you can explain the circle of life. Make sure everybody has one of those handouts. You're going to explain the circle of life and the segments of it. And then you would go and have everybody fill that out. Okay. And just remind everybody when they're filling it out to go by their gut instinct, not to justify their score, not to justify why they're putting that. And this was my big aha moment at when I did this for IIN, because afterwards when I looked at it, I thought, oh, I wasn't being honest with myself. So this will help people to kind of realize that too, especially if they're in their workshop and there's other people around. We kind of, and not only that, we just kind of think of, we write down what we think we feel or what we really want to feel like. But if we look at it afterwards, oftentimes we'll realize that that's not really where we are. So it's really eye-opening for people. So this is a great workshop for you guys to have, but make sure they just know not to justify their point of, putting it down there. And then once you do all that, have them get into groups of 3 or 4 people and discuss their results, right? You're going to kind of give an overview, discuss their results with each other, amongst each other. And why you'd be surprised at what they would come up with. I've been in plenty of workshops myself, and I've co-facilitated workshops where we had people get in groups. And then we, as the facilitators, would walk around and just kind of, listen in and hear what people were saying and stuff like that. So that's really, really good. And then you can also give them 2 or 3 questions to actually consider why they are in there. What surprised them about their answers, right? How do they feel about their life as they look at this wheel and realize there's some areas that, they're not maybe, that they want to work on, right? And then how would it be spending time in these areas to actually improve them, if it was, what they wanted, or if they wanted to improve them. So I think those are things that they can talk about in the brainstorming. And then afterwards, you can have a 10 minutes of just discuss and share the learnings. Which categories do they want to improve the most? And here's a key that I implemented with my clients. Just pick 2, because most times there's going to be 6 or 7 even that people want to improve on. And when they do, it's overwhelming. They won't implement anything. They'll make little changes here and there on all of them, but they won't really gain anything because they're not concentrating on one specific area or 2 specific areas and putting all of their attention and intention on helping correct those 2 areas. This was such a key for my clients when they just focused on the 2 areas, because everything else, it would seem overwhelming. And you guys can go back and search the group for Circle of Life that I just recently did a couple weeks ago. And I showed you one of my clients who I had permission for, his Circle of Life, and how I took it in the beginning, the middle, and the end of our 6-month program, and just how his middle one, he thought he was declining. In reality, I was helping to see how much he was improving in all areas of his life. So this is really key. And then what are the common themes that you're seeing in the room? You're going to be able to see that when people are answering that. So you're going to be able to then, and don't think that you won't be able to, hey, Lise, don't think that you won't be able to do this, but you'll be able to, you'll have the instinct, right? And the intuitiveness to, as you go around the room and you hear people's different discussions on what categories they want to improve on and all that, you'll intuitively be able to just take, okay, everybody wants to work on spirituality. Well, you can right off the bat, I'm sure, come up with, well, I have this group that I'm going to be doing on spirituality or mindset or, more intuitive thinking or whatever it is, right? Maybe some of them are wanting weight loss and just learning how to improve, cooking at home. You could already have these programs set up where this is what you're going to be offering in them. And that's kind of the, one of the things I'll talk about, in a second, as far as having a call to action. But then spend 5 minutes and have, and this is why I think this could be a 2 hour workshop, which you can charge really well for. Ask each person to come up with one action that they could do to move the needle forward in their lives to start helping them in this area. Hey, Amy. So I have also done, for the last couple years, taught evidence-based classes. So inside those evidence-based classes, every week we gave the people that were in the class an action form to fill out. So they actually filled out what was something they could do in a week that they could accomplish that they wanted to do, not somebody else wanted them to do, but what they wanted to do. And they had a week to accomplish it. And we gave them this outline for an action plan, and we had them complete it. And it was great because I would say about 90% of them worked on that one thing. And some of them made some great improvements because it was small, it was on a specific thing that they wanted to do, and it was something that they set up, and they held themselves accountable for it. They knew that they had to come back the next week with us and talk about it. So that also helped with the accountability. So these are all things that you can set up as a little bit of additional things. Like if somebody wanted to continue on and wanted to have some accountability to continue working on their circle of life, you could have a membership group set up where you charge $10 a month or $20 a month or whatever it is, or maybe even more. Maybe it's $50 or $60 or $70 a month, where people can go from this workshop into this membership, and then you can continue to nurture them and coach them in that way. So you want them to only, come up with something that is very relevant to the circle of life that they're working on in the workshop, but also that it should only be one thing that they want to be able to accomplish first with that action plan. What is the easiest, if people are a little resistant, what is the easiest thing that they could commit to move the needle forward in their life? And then sometimes then people are stuck. In my evidence-based class that I taught, we would ask them as collectively, like, if I was there as the facilitator, I would ask, would you like help from the room, from everybody in the room, in a little brainstorming? Would you like them to kind of maybe help you figure out what you can create as an action plan? So you first get permission, but maybe you have a couple of people that could see her insight and what she's trying to accomplish, but maybe she just can't come up with an action plan. So that's something that you can do, a little brainstorming session. And then if you have time, you might ask everybody to just take 30 seconds to say what their action plan is going to be. And you want to make sure when you are facilitating workshops, guys, that you are the leader. If somebody's taking, excuse me, an extended period of time to answer, you gently have to interrupt and say that you can talk to them fully about their whatever they're talking about after the workshop, but that you have to be respectful of everybody's time and the time that you have to give the workshop. So we need to keep the answers short and sweet. And once you do that a couple times, you'll get really good at it. I've become really good at that over the years. But that is something that you can do. And then you can summarize your workshop, what you feel balance is, what you want them to take away. Maybe give them 3 takeaways from the workshop, their action plan, to just not overthink their score, because if they concentrate on fixing 2 areas, then or just improving 2 areas, the rest will fall into place. It happens every time, so they don't have to worry about that. And then wrap up by talking about what you have to offer them. You should always, whenever you have a workshop, you should always have something else that you can offer. If some kind of call to action, whether it be to get a PDF from you, to get their email, but definitely some type of program that you can offer to help them balance and create a more fulfilled life, right? And then finally, make sure no one leaves empty handed. You're going to have your business cards or a brochure, but you also want to have, maybe two or three, depending on how long your workshop is. If it's 2 hour workshop, give them two or three handouts that they can take, right? They're going to have their circle of life that they're going to take with them. But give them two other handouts that will help them in some other way. Maybe it's a mindset, maybe it's nutrition tips, maybe it's snack tips, maybe it's, spiritual affirmations or whatever. But something to do with the circle of life. And obviously, you don't want to have 8 different handouts for them because that's way too much. Again, they're not going to, they'll take them, but they'll get overwhelmed and they won't do what you want them to do for the outcome of the workshop. And the outcome of the workshop should be that they pick 2 areas of their life and they really set in action plans and hold themselves accountable. So one of your call to actions could be that have a group set up, that if anybody wants to join that group, and maybe for now it's a free group, but now you've got the people who are aligned with what you want to do, right? Basically, your ideal client, you put them in a free group and you continue to nurture them on different things, the circle of life, and maybe all those 8 pieces of the circle of life, right? So, but that's a great call to action, actually, is to put them in your group, a free group. So they're going to totally join. You get to nurture them. You get to, get them on clarity calls. You get to get them on, whatever call you want to call it, and continue to get them into your programs. So you definitely want to make sure that they have a call to action with a couple handouts that you can give them to continue to, they follow you. You might even have one of the things I used to do. Thank you, Shani. I'm glad this is helpful for you guys. Please let me know this is helpful. One thing that I used to do towards the end of my health coaching was to have people take out their phones and get them to open it up, go to Facebook if they were on it, and connect with me on Facebook. So that's another thing you can do. You can also, if people, depending on the workshop, right, get the feel, because you're going to be getting the feel of the workshop and the people in the room. How are they responding? You're going to, and if you can, while I say they're in brainstormings, take down little notes for yourself, right? I don't want you to sit there and be always on a pad and pen or not in your phone, because that doesn't look good. But you want to take little notes on, okay, just like bullet points of, kind of got to tweak this, or take a look at this, something that's going to remind you to go back to that moment in time where you might need to tweak, or you might say, well, they weren't liking this breakout session, or they weren't liking to go around the room and share their action plans, whatever it is, just so you have some feedback. And then I would absolutely recommend that you have an evaluation form for any workshop that you do. And you can make that up yourself. I don't know if IIN or the other coaching schools have theirs. I'm sure they do, but I just made up my own. And what did they like? What they didn't like? What could I improve on? All of those things, and make sure they all fill them out before they leave, and let them know that you're open to really their honest truth about what the workshop was for them. And hey, Jess, and that this is how you improve your workshops. And you really are looking for honest feedback. So be open to that. Let them know that. Let them give that honest feedback, and take that, no matter what it is, right? And tweak it. Iterate it until you get that workshop the way that it should be. This could be a fabulous workshop for you guys. And again, it could be a 2-hour workshop, and I've had workshops for 30 minutes where I charge $250. So if you're doing a 2-hour workshop, maybe you're going into a group of a women's group. Maybe you're going into the church. Maybe you're going into, a community center, wherever it is. This workshop could be at least anywhere from $300 to $500, if not more, because you're going to be preparing too, right? So if you're going into corporate, totally could be a $500 workshop. Easy, easy. And don't be afraid of going into a workshop and having 50 people there, right? Because again, you're going to be just facilitating. So you're going to, as long as you have enough of the handouts and, obviously if it's 50 people, then when you do like at the end and you ask them, I think this would be very helpful. Just definitely watch it back. If you have 50 people, you're going to ask a handful of people to raise their hand who want to brainstorm, or people who want to share their action plans. You're not going to take 50 of them, right? You might say, okay, we have, 20 minutes left. I'm going to take 10 people who want to share their action plans, and then have them raise their hand and you choose. Okay, so again, you're the facilitator, you're controlling the workshop, you're going to be setting this all up. So it all depends. You're going to know probably before people come how many people are going to be there. So you kind of get an idea of, okay, I'm going to have, 10 minutes. And what I always do is have it be a place where, whether I brought my own or I'm in a room, and I want to know where the clock is. I want to know where the time is, so that if I have a specific time um, that that I have to get this workshop done, I'm keeping an eye on that. And it's very easy. And I know you don't think so sometimes, but I promise you, it's easy. If you have that clock in front of you, you're going to know what you can cut out of your workshop. All right. It might be that you don't ask for the action plans. If you know what time it is and you're running out of time, you're going to skip that. Nobody's going to know. The only person who knows what the workshop is supposed to be about is you. And so if you skip that part, no one's going to know. And you can always say, hey, if you want to share your actions plans with me and you want a little feedback, you have my email address. Please send me an email and I'd be happy to give you feedback. This way you're assuring that those who maybe didn't give you the email are now going to give you the email. So, there's all these little tips and tricks, and I promise you, intuitively, you will know what to do when the time comes. God gave you the gifts, and so you don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to answer some question. I think, let's see what at least said. What groups could you advertise this type of workshop to? Anyone, any groups that you are in, you could, once you get your flyer or whatever you want to do, if you have a website, I would definitely create a landing page for it. And at least, we have the website. Jessica, I know, you're in the coaching group. So, you're going to be starting your website. You would create a landing page and then you could advertise it in groups, as long as the groups allow you to do that. Right. But there's other ways, like when if you're in a group and they don't technically allow you to, sell your products, there are ways that people ask questions that you can serve them. And then, things that you can definitely do it afterwards. There's ways to do that, but you could certainly advertise this in your workplace. You could advertise it in corporate. You could go to community centers. You could go to cancer centers. I've done all of these. I walked into the cancer center in California and asked them if they would like a class on essential oils and nutrition. They loved it. They loved the idea. And they actually said, we as a facility would like you to come and do it for all our employees. I was like, sweet. And I've got so many clients from doing that workshop there. But then over the next couple of years, I probably did 20, 25 workshops for them. And when COVID hit, I did it, virtually. So it was great. Just by me going in and asking them if they would like a workshop on nutrition and essential oils, because I knew the impact of essential oils on cancer patients. So all of that is just an ask. All they can do, guys, is say no. Be okay with the no, right? Let me see. Let's see. So, you back at work yet? Hey, Lisa. As soon as I'm done with this, Jess, I'll be back. I was going to ask you, is doing the website builder. Yep, we can discuss the website builder. Let's see. Missed the beginning. Yes, definitely watch it from the beginning. So if you guys have any questions, please, please, please post below this video, and I'll try to answer all your questions. I was hoping I was hoping that, oh yeah, Lise, again, all you have to do is ask. So I just, like I said, I love to network. I love to take what I learn and put it out there. And it's important for me to take what I know and share it with other people. So I walked into the cancer center, asked who I could talk to about doing workshops, and asked them. And like I said, from then on, I've had 25 workshops at least with them, and all different topics, They would ask me, what else could I have? What else do you know? What else do you have a description of it? And they want descriptions of it. Yes. So it just takes you to get past that comfort zone. And oh, okay, Jess, I see you're talking to Lisa. Takes you to get past that comfort zone to just go out and put yourself out there. So many things can come from that. So many things. So I hope this was helpful for you. Please comment below whether or not it was, and let me know so that I know I'm on the right track of giving you guys information that you want. Comment below on other things that you might want to learn about so that I can help you grow and implement things into your coaching business and really move the needle forward. Okay. Love you guys. Have a great Tuesday and look forward to helping you out even more. Bye for now.